Story time. I have to give Kwik Snax some credit here because I'd had my ZX Spectrum for a good few years as a kid, and being as young as I was, it was my dad who taught me how to load games. I vividly remember that Kwik Snax was the game that not only showed me the difference between 48K and 128K, it also showed me that I'd been loading games in 48K mode for about 2 or 3 years. For the uninitiated, the ZX Spectrum Plus 2 model is the one that I had, and the menu looked like this. Notice the big distinction there between 48K and 128K basic. For whatever reason, my dad had picked out of the manual that you needed to run games in 48K, so that's all I knew. It was only when taking Kwik Snax round to a friend's house, where he automatically loaded the game in 128K, that my jaw dropped to the floor. This is the game loaded at 48K. This is the game loaded at 128K. You can bet your bendy banana that I went back home and loaded up every game I had in 128K mode. Disappointingly, none of them had quite as big a boost as Kwik Snax. The intro is absolutely solid. The animation, the music, the lights, the colours, the sound, just incredible. And honestly, this is the most personality that I'd ever seen out of any of the Yoke folk at this point. And it's not even a mainline Dizzy game, it's bloody Kwik Snax. Dizzy was fast becoming the 8-bit microcomputer mascot at this point, and Codemasters began to farm his big round face all over town. There was Bubble Dizzy, there was Fast Food Dizzy, there was Panic Dizzy, and then there was this. Out of all of these side games, Kwik Snax always stuck out in my mind as my favourite of them all. Whether that's because of my 128K discovery or not, I'm not sure. Anyway, the story here is that the Dizzy Mob, which is the band from the start, consisting of Daisy, Dozy, Dylan and Grandizzy, are planning on going on holiday. They all want to go somewhere different, so they fight about it. Zax gets pissed off, I'm not quite sure how he hears all this, and he teleports them all to the Land of Personality. Denzel is cool, so he goes to Iceland. Dylan daydreams a lot, so he goes to Cloudland. Grandizzy is senile, so he goes to Cuckoo Land. And then by the time we get to Daisy, Zax is already bored of the Personality Land conceit, and he just shoves her in a dungeon. Dizzy was quite upset. So that's your motivation, I guess. It's not the greatest story ever told, but it's a simple backdrop to what is a fairly simple maze-based game. Dizzy must navigate each maze, picking up all of the fruit. I'm honestly not sure how this helps him rescue anyone. Anyway, he also has to avoid the themed enemies along the way. Blocks can be pushed around to either create a barrier or to crush enemies like the sick bastard you are. I mean, literally crushing a penguin to death. Monstrous! Along the way you'll find power-ups, but a larger proportion of them are actually power-downs. There are control reverses, items that stop you being able to move past the usually traversable borders of the level, items that turn all the blocks into fruit, and another item that's basically a Pac-Man pellet. There's probably more, but honestly, if it's not a Pac-Man pellet, it's getting ignored. Each stage is broken up by a bonus stage in the form of a puzzle. Dizzy will continuously walk in the same direction until he hits a wall, where you have to choose a new direction. The idea is to try and collect every single bit of fruit before the timer runs out, and doing so will net you 1,000 bonus points. 10,000 points sees you reaching an extra life. All simple stuff, but the memory of past failures at this game dawned on me pretty quickly. It's lucky that the game lets you pick each of the zones as and when you want, because otherwise I'd probably have seen about 3 ice stages as a kid, and that would have been all my money got. It seems time hasn't honed my skills at all. Enemies always seemed quicker than I was, constantly catching me out as I tried to nip past and grab a piece of fruit. Blocks would get in my way while I was trying to find a way through the maze. The flashing fruit, which gives you extra bonus points, seemed to always be tauntingly far away. What was the point in even trying if I was going to die before I got there? I managed to save one person before I died. Then I tried again, and died before I even got that far. The whole game seems like a ridiculous Pac-Man ripoff that fell foul of the Spectrum difficulty meter. A game that looks like it's designed for a certain type of player, but actually just wants to kick dirt in your salad and laugh at your mother. So I gave up, and I went and did another video, and then I came back to it. And I finished it on my first try. I've been playing the game wrong. Kwik Snax gives off the impression that it's a fast-paced arcade game, when in actual fact, patience is the deciding factor in victory. I came back to the game because I hadn't quite made up my mind, and because I needed to play Zach's dungeon. I hadn't gotten any footage of that on my first playthrough, so I thought it best to start there. For the first few levels, I felt the same frustration I'd felt when I initially came back to it. I'd lost a couple of lives as I was coming toward the end of the chapter, and I was about ready to write it off. Instead, though, I started to play with more caution. I didn't rush from snack to snack. I carefully laid out a pathway in my head and ensured that I could form a defensive setup using the blocks before I went near any enemies. Soon enough, I'd gained an extra life. And then another. And another. And before long, I'd managed to complete the entire game without losing a single other life. That's not to say I didn't come close, but for the first time in 30 years, I'd managed to do it. I'd actually managed to beat this game. And, much like the habits I'd fallen into back when I was blindly loading every game at 48k, with Kwik Snax, I was blindly following the habit of rushing through every level, consistently taking chances and getting my instant comeuppance. Kwik Snax isn't the same as all the games it resembles. It stands out as a true original. It's quite a lot like Pengo, but aside from that, a true original. So, Kwik Snax then. It's a game that I used to love. Or maybe not love. It's a game that I used to like. And then I came back to it. Remembered how much I found it extremely difficult. Hated it for a bit. And then in the gap between hating it, found it average. And then went back to it and really enjoyed it. So, yeah. It's a game that requires a very specific play style. And that being said, I can recommend it to two groups of people, really. Once you actually understand what you're supposed to do, and you don't rush around like an idiot and get killed every 5 seconds, you have two options. It's either a really good introduction for kids, because it's simple enough to understand, and it plays, game feel-wise, it feels quite nice to control. The second category would be for those who perhaps find it easy, but you've then got the score attack challenge element, because to be honest, as I was playing through it, the flashing fruit that gives you more points, I couldn't be arsed with any of that. It kept on like appearing at the opposite end of the friggin' map, and so as far as the game overall is concerned, it's good. It's all right. Oh, but the slightly off topic. The Oliver twins liked 2 of my tweets the other day. They weren't like original tweets. They were comments to somebody else's. So, just in case they're watching now, I've designed a new member of the Yoke folk, and hopefully they'll see this and I'll get royalties or something. So my new member of the Yoke folk is Simon the Egg. His hobbies are collecting goldfish, reading the Bible, and blood sports. Simon loves you.